lot of people that are confused about this attendance incentive bonus. It was presented from the district, but it's honestly not a bad idea, and I want to show you why. Okay, so we get 12 benefited days of leave, right? Okay, so 12 benefited days of leave at a rate of $125 to $175 a day.
Now what's the 125, 175?
That's the range. So this is a short-term, a one-day sub, and this is a long-term sub.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the rate is different depending on if you have a long-term gig. So for the sake of argument, let's say this is 125.
Yeah, let's just stick with that.
Okay, so 125 for a day that you're absent, and you get 12 days a year, you use them all. Okay, so that is a total of $1,500 that, oh, that's a bad five, that they are using to spend to get you a sub one day at a time for the whole
for
year.
the 12 days that you
For
take.
all 12 of those days.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the option we had up until now was either you use it or you bank them. You bank any days you don't use. So there was nothing in the middle. You either use them or you don't. Now there's a middle option.
Okay.
The middle option is you can get a payout if you have very few numbers of days that you take leave for. So if you take no leave, you get 700.
Ooh.
If you have 1 day of
That's a
leave.
Beyonce concert, y'all.
1 day of leave, you get 600. 2 days of leave, you get.
If you
5.
if you take two, if you leave
It
two.
says
Oh.
up to 2. So
Oh,
that
if you
means
only take
if
two?
you only take
Oh,
two.
if you only take
so
two.
most of us are still going to use our benefited leave. But you
Yes.
can see how if you were banking all 12 days, let's pretend like you don't have a chronic illness, you don't have kids, you don't go to the doctor, whatever. I mean, go to the doctor, but like you can arrange your appointments so that you don't miss work. You could bank all 12 of those days. This gives you something in return if you're one of those very few people that would miss 0 days of work, 1 day of work, 2 days of work, or 3 days of work. So you could miss 3 days of work and get a little bit of a bonus back. This is not hindering your ability to use your leave. All right, so the way they're able to pay for this, which by the way, this is a 1-year trial. They want to see if this actually works. Because a lot of folks, like our veteran teachers, know that all of their banked days get paid out at a rate of about $30 a day when you retire. So a lot of people want to take the benefited leave reasonably, and we're not saying don't do that. But this gives you a little something right now. Now, that being said, this is a bonus, so it is taxed differently. So you'll get a 40% tax on all of this out of the gate. So once the bonus hits, you'll get 60% of your wages from this, and the rest of it will get claimed back when you do your taxes. So there is going to be some separation between one part of your payment and the next part of your payment, but you will eventually get it all.
Okay, well, what was the other thing we was talking about? What was the question we just...
And where they're getting this money from.
Yeah.
This money is coming out of the sub pool that would have otherwise paid for your sub. So they're this benefited, $30 down the road of banking, any days that you don't use year to year. That gets, again, paid out at a rate of about $30 a day upon your retirement. But this fund that pays for all of our subs is what is going to be paying for these benefits. And you can see it's less than half of what it would have cost for you to have 12 sick days. So this is not intended to be an attendance, a compulsory attendance policy. It's not intended to incentivize people to come to work sick. That's not what this is. If you're sick, stay home. We learned that during COVID. But if you stayed up late and you've got a headache, or you stayed up late and you need a coffee, this is hopefully going to...
You want to take that mental day, but you're like, maybe I'll go ahead and go in so I can get that money.
Exactly. This is that little carrot dangling at the end of the year for people that miss 3 days or fewer so that they can get a little extra something. But it's not intended to be enough to make people feel like they need to come to work sick.
So does it matter what day you take, if it's personal or if it's...
It's any leave at all.
Oh, okay.
It's any leave at all.
Okay.
So if you take again, it could be your 2 personal days, your 3 personal days if you're a veteran, that you take off, and then if you don't have any sick leave, you could get your 400.
Okay.
But that's the idea, and they're trying this for a year. It's got a 1-year sunset in the contract right now, a tentative agreement, I should say. And then if we like it, if we see that it's improving attendance, because at the beginning of the year, there were so many complaints about people having to sub in their buildings. And this is, while I know I've got kids, I've got a million appointments, I'm going to use my benefited leave. I already know that, but I think this is a good idea because it's going to change the tone in a building when nobody has to constantly be called out to sub.
Yeah.
That's what this is about.
Think of the morale when think how y'all was feeling at the beginning of the school year when your principal came along and said, oh, I need you to cover so-and-so's class.
Exactly.
Or you're getting these 15 extra kids because so-and-so is out.
Right. And AMAC heard all of that. The UTW heard all of that, which is why we didn't balk at this idea. We're like, it might get more people to stay at work. And that means that fewer people get called to sub. That's why this is happening.